Доброго ранку, шановні учасники панельної дискусії «Підтримка дітей в кризових ситуаціях. Кращі міжнародні практики». Мене звати Наталія Софій, і сьогодні я буду модератором нашого заходу, що відбувається в рамках Фестивалю наук Київського університету імені Бориса Грінченка. Наш сьогоднішній захід організований кафедрою спеціальної та інклюзивної освіти Факультету психології, соціальної роботи та спеціальної освіти у партнерстві з нашими давніми партнерами. Насамперед, це Всеукраїнський фонд «Крок за кроком», Міжнародна асоціація «Step by Step» і Європейський центр імені Вергеланда. Учасниками нашого заходу є студенти, викладачі університету, зокрема, наша кафедра спеціальної та інклюзивної освіти, яка, власне, є організатором сьогоднішнього заходу, також кафедра дошкільної освіти, кафедра початкової освіти. Обіцяли бути представники Міністерства освіти і науки України, інших державних громадських організацій. Перед тим, як ми почнемо нашу роботу, хочу звернути вашу увагу, що наш сьогоднішній захід буде проводитися двома мовами – українською і англійською. І для того, щоб ви вибрали ту мову, на якій вам буде комфортно, більш зрозуміло слухати, прошу звернути увагу, що внизу комп'ютера є земна кулька, так, цей значок. І вам потрібно вибрати ту чи іншу мову, або англійську, або українську, залежно від того, хто буде говорити, якою мовою і якою мовою ви будете слухати. Також хочу нагадати вам наші правила, це насамперед вимкнуті телефони. І, на жаль, в нас зараз такий час, що можуть бути повітряні тривоги, хоча в день сподіваюся, що їх не буде, але тим не менше, якщо це відбудеться, то ті, хто перебувають у безпечному місці, можуть залишатися, а ті, хто ні, то, звичайно, хочу нагадати вам, щоб ви подбали про свою безпеку і перемістилися у безпечне місце. Ми не будемо переривати наш захід, тому що сам запис заходу буде розміщений на YouTube-каналі факультету, а також на веб-сторінці кафедри спеціальної та інклюзивної освіти, як і всі презентації. Але, тим не менше, я повинна була про це попередити. Ще кілька таких організаційних питань. У нас сьогодні беруть участь 4 міжнародних спікери, яких пізніше детальніше представлю вам. І ви зможете свої питання під час упродовж їхніх виступів писати в чаті. І після кожного виступу я озвучу 1-2 запитання до наших спікерів, але всі інші запитання вони не загубляться, ми їх зберемо і будемо намагатися отримати запитання і так само розмістити на сайті кафедри і на Фейсбук-сторінки нашого факультету. Отже, на початку, я сподіваюся, що всі ви знайшли канали відповідні. Поки що я розмовляю українською, але пізніше будуть говорити наші гості, тому не забуваємо переключати канали, перемикати канали. А зараз, перед тим, як почати, я хочу з великим задоволенням надати слово для привітання декану факультету психології, соціальної роботи і спеціальної освіти Наталії Анатоліївні Клішевич, кандидату педагогічних наук, доценту. Прошу, Наталія Анатоліївна. Наталія Анатоліївна, ви були з нами? Щось з під'єднанням? Так, можливо, Наталія Анатоліївна десь вибула з нами. Олена Валерівна, а ви з нами? Так,
Доброго дня, мене чути?
Чути, так, чути.
Доброго дня. Я сподіваюся, що мене видно. Я не бачу.
Тимофію, а можете так зробити, щоб було видно?
Давайте я розпочну.
Угу.
Я рада вітати всіх учасників нашої панельної дискусії. Не включається камера, але я сподіваюся, що вона найближчим часом включиться. Сьогодні наша зустріч, вона охоплює надважливе питання.
Її треба перейти в докладчики, тоді воно її буде видно.
Я вже є, я бачу. Доброго дня ще раз усім. Сьогоднішня наша зустріч, вона охоплює надважливе питання – це підтримку дітей в кризових ситуаціях. У сучасному світі вектор кризових ситуацій розширився від пандемії до військових протистоянь, які охопили нашу Україну.
Виберіть, будь ласка, мову.
Шок і нерозуміння ситуації – це те, з чого почалася війна для кожного українця. Внаслідок надзвичайних подій, які відбуваються в Україні, а саме масові загрози життю, спостереження насильницької смерті, розселення людей, бойові травми, потреба у психологічній підтримці, у соціальному супроводі, воно набуває надзвичайної необхідності. А особливо в наш час підтримка дітей є дуже важливою. За офіційними даними радниці Уповноваженої президента України з прав дитини Дар'ї Герасимчук, на сьогоднішній момент у нас знаходяться депортованими 19 392 дитини. За час повномасштабного вторгнення 482 дитини вбито. 979 дітей отримали поранення. І це все те, що накладає відбиток на долю кожної дитини. Діти не повинні отримувати травми. Діти не повинні вважатися пасивними жертвами насильства, позбавлення волі. Вони є активними членами суспільства, які створюють власні стратегії виживання, які вміють долати труднощі, які здатні приймати рішення. Останні психологічні дослідження, вони показують, що незважаючи на складні умови, діти мають величезний потенціал стресостійкості, який дозволяє їм стати повноцінними членами суспільства. Наразі у нас в Україні і за підтримки президента України, за підтримки першої леді України, існує ряд національних програм підтримки психічного здоров'я. За підтримкою Міністерства охорони здоров'я, Міністерства освіти у нас існують програми щодо підтримки дітей. Зокрема, київська влада створює центри стресостійкості в місті Києві. Міжнародний дитячий фонд ООН ЮНІСЕФ, зокрема їхня точка дитяча спільно, це ті мінімальні заходи, які здійснює наша влада щодо підтримки дітей. Звісно, Україна на сьогодні дуже пишається тим, що величезна міжнародна підтримка. І ми дякуємо різним міжнародним фахівцям, в тому числі, які готові ділитися з нами тими міжнародними практиками підтримки дітей, зокрема під час війни. Ми щиро вдячні нашим сьогоднішнім спікерам, пані Ангелосу, пані Моніці, Санні та Кармен за вашу підтримку і готовність ділитися з нами вашим міжнародним досвідом підтримки дітей у кризових ситуаціях. Дякую вам за це, дякую пані Наталії за можливість спілкуватися. І нашим учасникам я бажаю плідної сьогодні роботи.
Дякую дуже, Наталія Анатоліївна, за побажання хороші. І шкода, що в нас ще не всі наші міжнародні партнери доєдналися, але я думаю, що вони доєднаються, були певні технічні питання. Олена Валерівна, чи ви на зв'язку? Скажіть, будь ласка. Чи чуєте нас? Чуєте мене? Так, можливо, також якісь технічні питання. Добре, тоді ми будемо продовжувати нашу роботу. І дійсно, як сказала Наталія Анатоліївна, що про кількість дітей, які зараз перебувають в інших країнах, які постраждали від війни. І дійсно, я хотіла тільки підтвердити, що від війни страждають багато людей. І, звичайно, що насамперед це наші військові, які перебувають на передовій, і мирне населення. І ми знаємо, що серед мирного населення найбільше потерпають від воєнних дій самі наші вразливі групи. Це насамперед наші діти, люди з особливими потребами, інші категорії. Я також хотіла навести деякі цифри. Так, за даними Уповноваженого Верховної Ради з прав людини Дмитра Лубінця, після 24 лютого 2022 року виїхали з України понад 14,5 мільйонів українців і мінімум 11,7 мільйонів в'їхали до країн Євросоюзу. Тому, звичайно, що ми дякуємо усім країнам, в першу чергу європейським країнам, нашим сусідам, які не лише надали прихисток нашим українським сім'ям, але й забезпечують основні права дітей, в тому числі право на якісну освіту. Власне, тому ми сьогодні запросили представників 4 європейських країн, яких попросили розповісти про кращі практики підтримки дітей у кризових ситуаціях. І в першу чергу це українських дітей, але не тільки так. І, звичайно, що наш фокус і прохання було також зосередитися, що ми говоримо про дітей, на таких вразливих категоріях дітей, як діти з особливими освітніми потребами. І сьогодні в нашому заході беруть участь, я вже буду говорити про присутніх. Тут це Санна Лукандер, головна фахівчиня організації Фан Academy Фінляндія, Ангелос Ваєланатос, провідний експерт Європейського центру імені Вергеланда в Греції. Ми також чекаємо на Моніку Ростіжевську-Возняк, президентку правління фонду Коменіус Польща, і на Кармен Ліу, виконавчу директорку центру «Крок за кроком» Румунія. І щоб не тратити наш час, я хочу надати слово Санні Лукандер, провідній фахівчині фінської організації Фан Academy. Я вже знаю дещо про досвід цієї організації і про ті ресурси, які вона створила не тільки для українських дітей, але й для дітей, які навчаються разом з українськими дітьми. Це і в дошкілі, і в початковій школі. І це ще один приклад інклюзії, коли ми говоримо не тільки про порушення розвитку, так, але і про те, що діти з різним культурним бекграундом, з різною культурою, так різномовні, можуть перебувати і навчатися разом. Санна, будь ласка, вам слово.
Thank you so much, Natalia. I think someone will be using my PowerPoint presentation and clicking from slide to slide, and also be able to share the video. But yes, I'm Sanna Lukander and I represent Fun Academy, and Fun Academy is an early childhood education company focusing mainly on helping adults, parents, teachers, and therapists to work with children with materials that are playful, age appropriate, and helping the adults have the child communicate in their own language, in their own childlike, playful ways. I'm so glad that we're now in this context of special and inclusive education, which is very close to my heart. And the project that I'm now going to first talk about is meant for all children and all parents, but it does not specifically focus on children with special needs as we in a normal situation understand. But now we know that all the children are special needs children in Ukraine, and also those children who are outside of Ukraine who have had to flee Ukraine are children with a special need. I think we would like to start with the video now before I talk about the actual solution, if that's possible.
З тих пір, як різко змінилося, моя донька не може відвідувати дитячий садочок. Доводиться адаптовуватися до нової ситуації, однак важко перемкнутися на щоденні справи. Проте за допомогою рекомендацій Fun Academy мені легше вдається допомогти моїй донечці продовжувати вчитися та навчити її важливим життєвим навичкам. Хоча б 10 хвилин маминої чи татової зосередженості та уваги підтримають соціальний та емоційний розвиток дитини. Планування розпорядку дня та спільне проведення часу допомагають моїй доньці почуватися у безпеці. Платформа Fun Academy безкоштовна і проста у використанні. Спробуй і переконайся. З тих пір, як наше життя різко змінилося, моя донька не може відвідувати дитячий садочок. Доводиться адаптовуватися до нової ситуації, однак важко перемкнутися на щоденні справи. Проте за допомогою рекомендацій Fun Academy мені легше вдається допомогти моїй донечці продовжувати вчитися та навчити її важливим життєвим навичкам. Хоча б 10 хвилин маминої чи татової зосередженості та уваги підтримають соціальний та емоційний розвиток дитини. Планування розпорядку дня та спільне проведення часу допомагають моїй доньці почуватися у безпеці. Платформа Fun Academy безкоштовна і проста у використанні. Спробуй і переконайся. З тих пір, як наше життя різко змінилося, моя донька не може відвідувати дитячий садочок. Доводиться адаптовуватися до нової ситуації, однак важко перемкнутися на щоденні справи. Проте за допомогою рекомендацій Fun Academy мені легше вдається допомогти моїй донечці продовжувати вчитися та навчити її важливим життєвим навичкам. Хоча б 10 хвилин маминої чи татової зосередженості та уваги підтримають соціальний та емоційний розвиток дитини. Планування розпорядку дня та спільне проведення часу допомагають моїй доньці почуватися у безпеці. Платформа Fun Academy безкоштовна і проста у використанні. Спробуй і переконайся.
Yes, I hope we have seen enough of the video now. Thank you. Yes, so the video gave us an understanding how a tool can help a parent bring healthy routines back into the life and everyday of the child, even when the situation is totally erupted and different than it was previously. This program is actually a teacher's manual that we have revised, made it adaptable in home or other out-of-school situations and in environments. The activities are activities that would be done in an professional early childhood education and care setting, but rewritten in a way that a parent who does not have an educational background or understanding of pedagogical theory can just read, watch a video, and use in their everyday life with the child. In the situation when we're talking about children who might be or are traumatized and uncertain, and also don't necessarily feel the hope of the future, we know that a healthy routine with the parents supporting the children with the idea of taking these children forward to school is very important. And that's one thing that this Ukrainian language version of the program is trying to do, giving the parent like simple advice on what it is that I can do with my child, what is it that I should be focusing on when I communicate with my child, without me as an adult bringing my own fears and worries into that context. The application is super simple to use, and hopefully it will be helpful for the parents. But we also understand as educators that we need to help parents understand why it's important to bring these routines back into the life of the children. Why is it important to do things that support the development of the child, even during these difficult times? We need to help the parent understand the importance of them being interacting in a positive way, and what that can do for the benefit of these children. We can jump to the next slide. In the app, the activities are written in a simple way, but as we can see in the next slide, actually, is that the tasks are also divided into subjects. So the parent knows what subject the parent is going through with the child while they're doing this fun, playful activity, and which developmental goals that particular task has. So the parent also has an understanding of the depth of these activities, that they're not just the pure fun that it seems to be when they're playing with the child. There are 1,840 tasks for the 3 to 6 year age group. They're written into this program so that one adult and one child can manage through this program. But because all these tasks are taken from a teacher's manual, they are originally designed for groups. So this whole program also works in a group setting when we have more than one child with an adult or an older kid maybe going through these activities with a child. So they are adaptable also for small group work, as that's where they originally come from. The next slide. The supporting partners are listed here, and then we can go to the next slide. In addition to the parent app that is to be found on through the website funacademy.org, we have also worked on projects with our partner Protect Children in Finland to support the Ukrainian children who are here in Finland. When a child comes into a classroom of kids who speak a totally different language, we introduced a program, a material that serves all of the children, both the Finnish children and the Ukrainian children, talking about their own worries or fears. We know as adults that we should let our children express their feelings, and we know that we should be listening to the children. We have that understanding, but sometimes it's difficult to free the children to express themselves if we don't know or have guidance on actually how does that happen concretely and in reality. And that's why we created a small material that's a very playful way of letting the children through a story-based approach start talking about how they feel, showing how they feel in their play, and then distancing themselves from the expression of these worries by using these fun learning characters as the protagonists of the story that we're using here. This material is created with early childhood educationalists, pedagogy experts, with childhood psychologists and trauma therapists using the cognitive-based therapy theoretical background. This material has been ordered to schools, therapists, and refugee centers in Finland. About 30,000 copies have been distributed according to orders from parents and teachers and therapists, so it's widely in use in Finland. The material is also translated into 15 other languages and available to download in those languages also for groups with Ukrainian children in other countries in Europe. Next slide, please. We at Fun Academy, like all the projects that we're currently working on, we want them to be also available in the Ukrainian language. So in addition to the translation of the worry booklet mentioned in the previous slide and the parent app that I briefly also talked you through, we have asked our partners to translate also other partner projects into Ukrainian. And one of them is the amazing This Works program that's meant for primary schools. It's a technology school project for first grades used in about half of the Finnish first grades, and now also available for all Ukrainian first grade teachers and their students, helping the kids understand how to develop future skills in the school setting, and helping the teachers connect their lessons to actual tech skills that the children will be needing in the future. And the third project is, it's a dictionary or picture vocabulary designed for young children and their teachers to be able to talk about tech and digital with the right kind of words and vocabulary. That project is made by the National Agency for Education of Finland and now available also in Ukrainian language for any adults working with young children. Next. The next steps that we're taking, in addition to the parent program and these smaller projects, we are working on a sensory room with also outside physical activity actions in support of specifically special needs children and kids who will be benefiting from trauma-informed interventions. This is like a physical environment that we're designing together with Tampere University hospital psychiatrists and our experts at Protect Children, plus the early childhood education pedagogists with primary teachers, and hoping to also be able to bring this entire sensory room with all the senses involved also to Ukraine as soon as possible. it's not only like real life physical environment, but it also brings the like distant therapy and technology interventions to be possibly distributed through this room, with the idea that we need to be able to create more scalable solutions. There won't be enough resources for one-to-one, one-on-one interventions. So we need to be figuring out ways to distribute solutions to broader audiences. And this room will be one of the solutions that we will be using for that in the future. Thank you so much, and looking forward to hearing more about the other amazing solutions that you have.
Дуже дякую, Санна, за таку цікаву презентацію. І хоча ви сказали, що у вас немає спеціального фокусу на дітей з особливими потребами, але ми в Україні розглядаємо так само, як і в Фінляндії, в багатьох інших країнах, так, що інклюзія і категорії дітей з особливими потребами – це не лише діти з порушеннями розвитку чи діти з інвалідністю, і навіть те, що за допомогою матеріалів Н.А.Клішевич, які створені оцей буклет, зокрема, перекладений на, по-моєму, 17 мов, так, це дає змогу всім дітям разом працювати, брати участь у спільних видах діяльності і так само і вчити мови один одного. Так що це такий також приклад інклюзії. І я хочу сказати, що, можливо, це ще рано говорити, але ми також думаємо з Санною, з Н.А.Клішевич, щоб ті види діяльності, які плануються, зокрема в мобільному застосунку, можливо, були розроблені і вже більш цільово для дітей, які мають ті чи інші порушення розвитку. Це поки що такі в нас плани, ідеї, і я думаю, що ми все одно маємо працювати, тому що я сказала, що є вразливі групи, але серед вразливих груп є ще найбільш вразливі групи, які потребують більшої підтримки. Дякую, Санна, і я хочу всім нагадати, не забувати про чат і писати ваші запитання у чаті, які обов'язково я побачу і озвучу. І я дуже рада, що на кінець вже до нас доєдналися ще наші дві учасниці. Це Моніка Роціжевська-Возняк, президентка правління фонду Comenius Польща, і Кармен Лія, виконавча директорка Центру «Крок за кроком» Румунія. Вітаємо вас, вибачте, що за технічні, можливо, труднощі, але така ситуація буває. І, звичайно, що хотілося б слово передати Моніці, як людині, яка дуже багато робить для підтримки, для розвитку дітей. І, можливо, ще й тому, що Польща одна з перших країн, яка відкрила кордони, яка прийняла українські сім'ї, яка дуже допомогла і зараз допомагає на всіх рівнях, від політичного рівня, так і від рівня підтримки окремих сімей і дітей. Тому, Моніка, дуже чекаємо на ваш виступ і на ваш досвід підтримки дітей, які перебувають в ситуації кризи. Будь ласка, Моніка.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me to this fantastic seminar. I'm now in Poland, but I feel kind of like in Ukraine all the time, because for 1 year, every day we are together with Ukrainian children, mothers, educators, and our office friends from Ukraine. I will tell, I don't know, maybe you will see our presentation in a moment. I'm representing Foundation for Child Development, Fundacja Rozwoju Dzieci, which was established 20 years ago already. And do you think we can have my presentation? I don't see that, but of course I can speak. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, thank you. Thank you. This is title of my presentation, and this is, I would like to say about our response on refugee refugee children and mothers who came to Poland after the war was erased. And I will take your attention to see and to hear what is our response and how we develop our program. I will start, please show the next slide. I will start with introducing our foundation. As I said, it was established 20 years ago by a group of psychologists, pedagogues, and leaders in early education. And since then, we still, all the time, our focus is on the on children's needs. Young children's up to 10 years old, young children's needs, especially living in marginalized rural areas or from marginalized backgrounds. We are helping local organizations in setting developmental and education facilities. We provide, for many years, we were providing preschool education in rural areas. We have our experience on early education and early development and education standard. We established, this is the first of in Poland, full set of standards for settings for children 0 to 3 years old, of age, and they are very complete and regard all areas of a child's life and education from the beginning. This is our program, the quality from the beginning. And as you can see, our foundation was one of the first organizations who recognized the needs of children, only young children in Ukraine, and I will tell more about it. Please, next slide. We do many programs for these 20 years. We have, in the next slide, you will see that we set up many programs, and we were doing many, innovative programs, which are now the base for our work with Ukrainian children in our nursery and preschool centers. This is something about that, the quality of the early childhood, sustainable development, doing some ecological work with children in preschool age, focusing on education for parents, on education for parents and teachers how to eat and grow healthy. And we did a lot of programs for mothers and children, not only in Poland, but as well in Tajikistan, Georgia, Kazakhstan, Belarus, not yet in Ukraine, but I hope that in the future we will do many things with our Ukrainian partners. Please, next slide. I will now go to our main topic. That when war begins, there was up to probably today, this is not really good counting, but over 2 million registered Ukrainian refugees in Poland already we had. Not all are living now in Poland because many of them were going back to Ukraine. But we have almost 300 young children before, in an age before 6 years old. And their needs were, and still are really very important, because they are children who spent first years of life in pandemia, which kept them out of social and educational and developmental possibilities. And now they have 1 year, over the 1 year of the war. So children needs friends, children needs stability, children needs their mothers to be in good shape to take care of them. And when they come to Poland, to our country, they not only need some place for children, but they need possibility to work, of course. So we decided in our foundation that we have to answer to these needs. And we established a program which we called Spinka. Spinka, all of you know what does it mean, Spinka in Ukrainian. This is spinal or back of the chair. Spinka in Poland is the hair clip or paper clips, Spinka. So we connect by the supporting and support by connection. And please, next slide. I will tell about our Spinka program and numbers. This is a very big program for our foundation, and it grows very fast. And till now, we took care of over 10,000 children from 0 to 6. We trained over 400 educators. Most of them, they were not teachers before. They came and they got long training, very intensive training. Please show the next slide. Maybe you will see more the amount of this program. We trained those educators they got more than 200 hours of training. So we established, you can see in many regions in Poland, the most important are close to the border, but in Warsaw and in Mazowieckie and Łódzkie voivodeship, where there is a lot of Ukrainian refugee coming in Województwo, in Silesia, in Śląskie, and in other regions. We set up settings. What does it mean, settings? They are groups, nursery groups for children from 0 to 1 to 3, 4 years old, and preschool groups for children from 4 to 6 years old. Till now, we have 72. This is not true because last week we opened the next, so 73 centers, 73 groups. And coming back to educators, they are now in a very intensive process of professionalization. They have their own mentors, they have monthly meetings, they have trainings, they have supervision, and then they have therapy sometimes because they, as a refugee, they need very intensive, sometimes very intensive psychological help as well. Please show us the next slide. I want to focus now on parents because they are very important for us, and we really need to be in a close relationship. We started a survey with the cooperation of University of Warsaw and the University in Utrecht, survey long-term to check and to follow parental attitudes and parental development through Spinka program. And as you can see, most of them are Ukrainian, most of them are refugee. 14% don't recognize themselves as a refugee because they were living in Poland before the war, sometimes 2 weeks before the war, but anyway, they don't have status of refugee. Our parents and our educators, they are very in a very high educational level. Most of them are interested in work. They want to work or they already work. Only for now, there are data from last month. Only 25% of them want to stay in Poland, and the same percentage of our educators have planned to stay in Poland after the war. Why we are checking that? Because our plan for the future is to work with them in Ukraine when they go back. I will say more about it later. And what we do, what kind of needs we try to, and what our goals are. Please show us next slide. Our main goals are to provide high quality, nurturing care for care and education for Ukrainian children living in Poland now, to employ and train Ukrainians, I said about it, to be educators in this nurturing care framework, and to take care of whole child, including psychological needs of whole population. And what I said, our addressing whole child, it means that we are taking care of their family environment as well. So this is not only child who is, is sent to the center, but we are focusing on the contact with parents. This is not easy because many of them are in a really bad situation, not only physical and, because of housing and being lost in other country, but many of them have really severe trauma experience and they don't trust us. So it means that sometimes it takes 1 or 2 months when parent is ready to speak with us, with our educators, Ukrainian educators mostly, about their needs, about the problems, and they are afraid of being exposed on like psychological consultants. So our psychologists in the beginning, we were naming them as a consultant, not psychologists, because this is the fear they have. They are not secure with being on psychological or psychiatrical, care. So this is our everyday problems. Next slide is about our quality, because I know that this is the main topic of the seminar. We are very, for us, the quality of the pedagogy, but whole pedagogy is very important, because we know that we don't have any month to lose. Children, if they lose possibility to develop, they will lose much more than we can imagine, because the first years of life, like everyone knows, are the most important for the whole life. So we developed our program, our curriculum. We provide to our educators monthly activity proposals for activities connected with the curriculum. You should remember that I think preschool teachers, there is the minority of our educators. So they, most of them, they have some experience with children, but that was not formal education. So we have younger children than 3 years old. So we developed a special curriculum, which is, I think, very innovative in a way that we are working based on our preschool core curriculum, our governmental core curriculum, but we developed our own authors' innovative curriculum. We implement our standards for early care. We wrote handbooks on organization, on the procedures for our educators. As I said, they have monthly in-service training. They have support of our pedagogical regional coordinators who are mentors for them. We support parenting sessions. We trained psychologists and educators to do parental sessions, which are mostly focused on creating the atmosphere of sharing for parents in the beginning. And we provide psychological help for parents and educators and children. We are consulting. And now I want to share with you our feedback, which we just last week we got from our parents. Please show us next slide. And because we wanted to know, we asked them many questions, why they come to our Spinka. And the most important thing is that they need Ukrainian environment for children. This is no cost, but Ukrainian environment, this is important for our parents, for young children. They don't want to enroll their children into public Polish preschools because they are afraid of losing of their children Ukrainian identity. So they need care, of course, what we expected, but they acknowledge the importance of that we give children possibility to interact with peers. Please show us next slide. Almost all are satisfied with our Spinka centers. If they not, they write us some complaints. We have special procedures for complaints, and sometimes we got some complaints. They say that they, happy we have the good contacts, organization of our activities, equipment, specialist support. They started to see that specialist support from, like logopedists, physiotherapists, and psychologists is important for the children. And nutrition. Yes, next slide, please. And they see progress of their children. They recognize importance of the progress, and they see that children are changing. And I think this is important for us, that they see that children are more open for new. Very important. They feel like enjoying life. They are learning. They developing new skills, especially social skills. And they develop independence. This is what are our values and what is important for us as well. And almost last slide, they are our future and our plans for future. And I want to share our plans with you for a moment, because now we are building the consortium and raising money for that, to provide early childhood education in many countries, in Ukraine, of course, and in Romania. Hello, Carmen. Moldova, Slovakia, Hungary, and Czech. And we are trying to, connect all of us to build the future for the Ukraine. We want to train and certify leaders and teachers and advocates. And I'm really hoping that we will be cooperating in next month. We want to build quality together. This is very important, the quality together. And I think our experience and our, our educators who are most want to go and do Spinka in Ukraine. Sometimes I hope will be the good beginning of workforce for early education. Not beginning, but it allows yes, to foster and to strengthen early education in Ukraine. Okay, thank you very much. I want to share our partners. The last slide is our partners, and I think that it shows the big work, how to find the financing for such big challenge and such big program. And they are for now our partners in this, what we are doing now. And now we are in the phase of finding new partners for new phase of our work. So thank you very much for listening to me. Okay, now I will be listening. Thank you, bye.
Дякую, Моніка. Величезне дякую. Дякую за всю цю роботу, за всю цю підтримку, яку ви робите для наших дітей, для всіх дітей, які зараз перебувають в Польщі, і не тільки в Польщі. І хочу сказати, що ви знаєте, що скільки закладів дошкільної освіти, скільки дитячих садків було зруйновано, тому що війна, і зараз в Україні йде робота з пошуку різних таких інноваційних форм надання дошкільної освіти, тому що ми всі знаємо, що саме цей вік, так, дошкільний вік, ранній вік, ми не можемо його втрачати. І хоча ми говоримо про освітні втрати на рівні школи, але дошкільний вік – це не менш, а можливо і найбільш важливо, якщо ми говоримо про подальші успіхи дітей. Тому різні форми, різні інноваційні форми для нас зараз дуже важливі. І дякую вам за ваш досвід і сподіваємося, що наша співпраця, те, що ви зазначили, цей консорціум, вона буде тільки розвиватися і посилюватися. І я з приємністю хочу перейти до Кармен, тому що ви вже посміхнулися, коли говорили про Румунію. І думаю, що я не помилюся, коли скажу, що і фонд Коменіус, так, і так як і центр Step by Step Румунія є членами міжнародної асоціації Step by Step, так? Тому зараз я хочу запросити до слова Кармен, директорку центру «Крок за кроком Румунія», яка в цій мережі і в міжнародній мережі, і, власне, очолює фонд з самого початку заснування, і як і, скажімо так, попередні організації, основними питаннями цієї організації, цього центру, звичайно, є фокус діти дошкільного віку, раннього віку і так само початкових, молодшого шкільного віку. І основними питаннями діяльності є якісна педагогіка, тому що це вже звучало сьогодні так з уст Моніки, якість освіти, це і права дітей, і доступність послуг, підтримка батьків, соціальна інклюзія, як я вже говорила в широкому сенсі цього слова, не лише для дітей з інвалідністю чи дітей з порушеннями розвитку, а для і ромських дітей, і дітей сімей мігрантів. І я пам'ятаю, коли навесні, коли це було після лютого, так, Кармен одразу ж написала і зателефонувала з різними ідеями, яким чином, які в них з'явилися, яким чином вони можуть допомогти нашим українським сім'ям і дітям, які зараз перебувають, які тоді перебували в Румунії. Тому, Кармен, також дякую величезно за цю роботу і підтримку, яку робить ваш центр. І з цікавістю послухаємо ваш досвід. Будь ласка, дякую.
Thank you very much, Natalia, for the invitation and for having me in this very important event. And thank you to the colleagues who described their experience before I had the chance to speak. Will you share my presentation or? As you said, and thank you for the very nice introduction of the organization that I represent today, Step by Step Center for Education and Professional Development in Romania, which we are very similar to what Monica described about Comenius Foundation. We established a group of psychologists and dedicated educators and sociologists and public policy specialists. Back in 1994, we established this association with the aim to improve education for children in Romania. We started by implementing the step-by-step educational alternative in 1994 at preschool level. Then in 1995, we moved at primary school level. And in late 90s, let's say, we had a much better understanding of the importance of early years, and we also included services for birth to 3 children. In all these years, we continued to expand the network of step-by-step crashes, preschools, and schools, and we created a huge community of learning that it's growing not only in numbers, but in knowledge and best practices. And it's a symbol and a reference in the national educational system in Romania in terms of quality and in terms of piloting innovative approaches. It is an alternative that is implemented mainly in the public system. And we as an association, we coordinate one center of excellence at preschool level and one center of excellence at school level, which serve as, I would call them educational laboratories, where we pilot different approaches and different methods that we can then spread in the whole step-by-step network at national level. Last year, when the war started, we were involved from the very beginning in what we called the response, and we tried to find the best ways to support families with young children who were fleeing out of Ukraine and were coming to Romania. We used our experience and the expertise we gained in using the Primo Kids methodology, a Swiss methodology that we piloted in 2 counties in Romania between 2018 and 2022 in supporting local authorities to best cater the needs of families with young children and improve the quality of early childhood services. And based on that experience, we addressed the local authorities and the communities who hosted back then families coming from Ukraine, and we assisted them in identifying the best solutions to accommodate young children and develop services for young children, not only to offer children access to educational services and integrated services, because we put together health and social assistance together with our educational expertise, but also to offer the parents who were especially young mothers by themselves with 2 or more children, the time and the space to think about the challenges that they were facing, to solve and find solutions for themselves and their families, and also later to offer them the opportunity to find a job in the situation when they decided to remain in Romania. This is how the model that we developed in Romania was called Primo Hub, and it was piloted, as I mentioned, in our Primo Kids project. And using the what we learned in Primo Hubs, we opened this what we call complementary early childhood services in partnerships with local authorities, with preschools and schools, and also shows social protection departments in different communities, in 15 communities all over the country, and the number is growing. The number of communities interested to open this kind of services is growing, and we plan to open 20 more services like Primo hubs in other communities. In Bucharest, we have the biggest number of services that we opened, because Bucharest, the capital of Romania, hosts the biggest number of Ukrainian families. The reason why we decided to look more into this kind of services instead of looking at the formal services were two main reasons. The first reason is that the formal services like crashes and preschools are full at this point in time, and the option was either for young children from Ukraine to be with no access to early childhood education, or to come up with these services with a sustainability plan developed in partnership with local authorities, that they will become part of the system. In the meantime, we continued our advocacy work and partnership with the Ministry of Education, and we managed to develop a national methodology for the complementary services to be part of the educational system. And also the public policy identified a public funding source, as long as the local authorities are able to demonstrate that they will provide the spaces and they will cover the cost, the maintenance cost, then the Ministry of Education will come up with the financial resources to support the salaries of the professionals working with these children. Besides the Primo hubs that we developed with different partners, we started as part of the International Step-by-Step Association, a partnership with them and World Child, and then we, using the same model, we developed a much bigger strategic partnership with UNICEF, and we opened these Primo hubs both in kindergartens, with a plan that the groups of children will become groups of preschool, of those preschools, and also in available spaces offered by local authorities. And these Primo hubs are linked to local preschools, and the people working in Primo hubs are part of the community of learning that we set up as part of the step-by-step alternative program. What I would also like to mention, as Monica said, we are really preoccupied of maintaining the quality of the services. So the people working in these services are in some of the centers we have educators. In some of the centers we have Ukrainian young mothers who were looking for a job, and part of the communities that they are coming from, they decided that they will work with volunteers, and in these places we have teachers from the preschools who work with them and guide their activities. We provide them with training and resources, and they are part of all the working sessions that we offer to our step-by-step colleagues. And also we had a very big training on first psychological aid that they were part of, not only to understand how can they work with the children in crisis and how can they relieve the children, but also part of the training, it was focused on their well-being and adults, and helping them get through the hardship of the moments that they were living, so they could be good with themselves in order to take care of the children. We tried to offer both online support and in-person meetings and support. In our strategic partnership with UNICEF, we also provided, with participation from Lego Foundation from Ukraine, a training on learning through play, and also the necessary resources that they will use the learning through play methods in all Primo hubs. And the training was also available to all our colleagues in the step-by-step network. In this training, we had over 400 people participating, and we have a team of 10 trainers available to offer the training and the counseling to all specialists and all professionals in early childhood services who are interested and who might benefit of that. We also looked at children with special needs, and we encouraged both families and local authorities to identify and invite them to participate in early childhood services. We offered them the training and the necessary materials. We have two centers who are hosting also children with special needs. And we also have a partner that is offering counseling both for parents and for teachers, and supports the teachers and the parents with methods and information about child development and how they can best be included in the classroom activities. I don't want to end before saying that all the families that participate in our centers, when we went, we visit them every other month, and when we discussed about their interest in our services, they all confessed that they are very interested to continue. They want to their children to participate in this kind of services because they can see not only that the children are learning, but the children are more emotionally stable, and they are happier since they participate in these services. The parents also confessed that they are relieved, and they are I should remember the word in English. They feel much better knowing that their children have access to a professional service where they meet other children, they meet other Ukrainian children, they have professionals that speak Ukrainian with their children, but also their children have the opportunity, and them as parents have the opportunity to interact and meet with Romanian families. One other thing I would mention is that we also, in partnership with UNICEF, contributed to developing a very important resource for parents called Bebo. It's an app called Bebo. It's also available in Ukrainian, and it offers a lot of information from child development information to practical activities that can be organized by parents at home. Thank you again very much. I wish the best of success to you and to all our colleagues who are doing wonderful things in support of children in crisis. And yes, we are looking forward to develop the partnership that Monica mentioned before, so we can continue our work. Thank you again for the invitation and for having me today.
Дуже дякую, Кармен, і хочу попросити вибачення за технічні причини, що не побачили учасники презентацію, але ми всі презентації завантажимо на сайті кафедри спеціальної інклюзивної освіти, і тому я думаю, що ця інформація буде також і в презентації, і наші учасники зможуть ознайомитися детальніше. І, звичайно, що було би добре, цікаво і корисно побачити цей посібник українською мовою, про який говорила Кармен, але я впевнена, що Ми будемо продовжувати далі нашу співпрацю, наше спілкування, і я думаю, що всі ці ресурси, про які ми сьогодні говорили, вони будуть в доступі. І я говорила, що в нас буде час задавати питання, ставити питання після кожного виступу, але бачу, що, напевне, ми виберемо інший підхід, що ми всі запитання, їх вже кілька є, але ми з огляду на час, можливо, якщо буде час, а його, напевне, не буде, ми, скоріш за все, надішлемо вам і будемо сподіватися, що ви дасте відповідь, так, дасте інформацію, ми їх знову ж таки розмістимо на сайті. І ми хотіли, щоб коли ми говоримо про дітей, що я вже повторювала, що, звичайно, такий найперший фокус – це діти дошкільного віку, маленькі діти, тому що, якщо говорити про вразливість дітей, то саме найменші діти відчувають ці страхіття, які приносить війна найбільше, але і інші діти також і дорослі страждають від цього також. Тому я думаю, що логічно, що завершує, скажімо так, нашу панельну дискусію, наш семінар Ангелос, який завершить, зупиняючись на такому підході, який ми також всі знаємо добре англійською, whole school approach, то підхід, який орієнтований на всю школу. І те, що дуже важливо також, тому що ми говоримо про інклюзію, тематика також нашого сьогоднішнього заходу і в широкому сенсі, і про те, що ми говоримо насамперед, що інклюзія і взагалі доступ до освітніх та інших послуг – це насамперед забезпечення права дітей. Тобто це правовий аспект, це не якийсь сучасний тренд, не лише толерантність і милосердя, але це забезпечення одного з основних прав дітей. Ангелос, чекаємо на ваш виступ. І ще раз хочу представити, що Ангелос є провідним експертом Європейського центру імені Вергеланда в Греції. Ще одна європейська країна, будь ласка.
Thank you. Dobry ranok, dear friends. Let me say the following. When I got the invitation of participating at a meeting in Kiev, I thought that I would come there, and I was enthusiastic. I said, at last, yes. But then in small letters, it was online. So I said, okay, this is also a thing, because it was an answer to this helplessness that we feel since the start of the war, that we want to do things. How can we do those things from a distance? And with our powers here, I will try to answer to that and give an answer on my last slide. What I would like to share with you is some experience from a project that is called Schools for All. And this Schools for All is addressed to the secondary education because we thought and we know that secondary education needs more help. You know, preschool teachers know ways that secondary education teachers don't. So we said, let's use them in order to help the secondary education. This project, Schools for All, is a EEA grants project managed by the European Vergeland Center that I am representing here. So I would like to share with you some things about the program, the method, and the numbers. Why to do that? It's not because we're good people, but it is because already in 1948, all our countries have signed the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And there we have the basic thing that all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. This means that there is no distinction between us, no matter what. Who is going to do that? In the European Convention of Human Rights, it is very clear, and all our countries have signed it, that the countries shall secure that everyone in their jurisdiction has the rights and freedoms declared by the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So this means that the governments have the duty to care for every child that lives in their country, no matter what. And more specifically, in the European Convention of Human Rights, Article 2 of the first protocol, it says, no person shall be denied right to education. So it's very clear. We don't have to do things because we are good people, but because we have the task to do it. Now, how to do it? The problem is that democracy is not innate in human species. We are born mammals, but we are not born democratic. This means that democracy has to be taught. And there are lessons about democracy at school. The thing is this enough? And the answer from pedagogy, but from experience too, is that it is not. Tell me if you see the slides, please, and if they turn. Yes, they do. So democracy as knowledge is almost nothing. It is forgotten. Democracy has to be experienced at school. And school is a place to experience democracy. Is a society that can live democratically. And not only that, but is a place to be taught, understand, and try inclusion. And in order to say what inclusion is, I could say that the time that we will be different only by the different dimensions of our hands and the colors that we have chosen for that. Only if those are our differences, then we talk about an inclusive society. The big difference is that we have differences, but we also have the right to be different. And we have to find the means of living together, no matter what. So we work on what we call Schools for All method, which is a Council of Europe method of all school approach. This means that we see the school in three areas. And the one area is teaching and learning. But this is not the end. This is only the 1/3. The second third is what we name school governance and culture. How to teach democratically, how to mean the democratic way that you are teaching, my friend, if the school does not work democratically. If the school director is a kind of monarch in the school deciding alone. If everything that happens at school is not an issue to discuss and decide, all the members of the school community. And then the third is how much the school is isolated from the local community. How much everything that is brought from the local community through the kids is taken into consideration in everyday school life. So yes, it is teaching and it is learning, but in what environment and with what dimensions? How to do that? In order to build a democratic school from scratch, we have to remember the democratic values or the competencies for democratic civilized culture. The problem with democracy usually is that it is very official. Democratic values decorate classes in frames, freedom, equality, and things like that. The thing is how to think free, how to put equality as a criterion in what we do and how we decide at school. So the fundament is democratic values. And then Teaching and learning and school governance are the walls, and the ceiling of this school, the protection of this school, is the connection to the community. If this is solid, then we can find the methods and we can create the good practices in order to live in a democratic school. What School for All, the project, offers to the schools is that the door of the school is values, which means that whoever enters the school, but whoever comes out of the school, knows and works on democratic values. And also that the windows of the school, so the ways to see the world, but the ways to be seen by the world, are skills and attitudes cultivated in the school. Okay, let's go to reality. In Greece today, we have 17,262 refugee children. And in this list on your screen, you see the countries that they come from. This has, you know, Greece used to be a refugee or immigrant sending country till about 20 years ago. And from that time, we have been the refugee and immigrant receiving country, not to stay, but to go to Europe mostly. We have Ukrainian children long before the war, because there is a Ukrainian community in Greece too, that the number of young people that form the number of 1,246 Ukrainian students that we have at schools today were added to the existing ones. But you can imagine the difference in culture and language and school experience and knowledge, but also young children united by the difficulty, but the experience, the trauma, and the knowledge of being refugees and being refugee children. So what to do with this? The human geography of Schools for All is 4 experts, 38 trainers, and up to today 90 schools participating. What have we done? The 64 schools are all around Greece. So schools said, we want to be a part of the project. And then we sent a trainer to work with them. We had meetings called academies, where all the representatives of schools, directors, teachers, and parents came together. And they worked with us for a year. This year, we had 24 schools in what we call 4 hubs. I'll say something later. Participating in the project means that every school created an action plan to work throughout the school year. Because knowing things is good, how to implement them is another thing. This experience last year was put down and formed a publication which we called Schools for All, 31 basic activities, which you can find on the website of the European Curriculum Center for free. And the third thing that we did this year was those 4 school hubs that we work with. Let's take them one by one. Action plans. The first thing was a teacher training at schools. The thing is that if we have not tasted things, we're not easy to implement them. So it's not just from theory to practice, but it is from theory to personal experience to practice. So at every school, we had a teacher training. And then it's self-evaluation. How inclusive are we as a learning community at school? It's a questionnaire, step by step, putting down how inclusive the school community is. And then it is school activities. Every school created their own activities. I would like to share with you a small taste of it. Those are the schools that took part. Those are the trainers. Some made posters. Others changed the school signs in many languages, so the refugee students feel at home. Those are some of the words used. Or the school regulation in every language. Or lessons were translated to the languages of the students. Or tests were translated, given. Wishes prepared by the students. There were meetings with parents and guardians and the refugee students at schools. You can imagine that art was the uniting glue. Poetry, literature, history projects. It's so good to see the students having a relation by sign language, by words, by Google Translate, and all this to create a common thing. In class, out of class activities. And then they're out of school, together in school trips and visits, museums and places. They took part in celebrations together. It goes on and it goes forth. And this is how the schools worked. So then, as I said, this experience formed a manual that is available, and it tries to say how a school can react to the fact that there are different students at school. And the main group of different students nowadays is refugee students, but also students with disabilities, students with cognitive differences, all kinds of different students. So this publication is not a book, it's a collection of cards, actually. And it's mostly activities. It has the theoretical, very short part, but then it goes to activities. How to implement things in very practical and easy ways. All those activities are divided in 3 times. What can the school do before the refugee students come, when they have come, and after they have been at school for some time and they feel that this is their school. And every chapter is divided in awareness raising for the people that are at school before the refugees come, for example, preparation of the school in order to welcome the refugee students, and implementation of inclusive activities. This is the manual. And the manual is full of activities, and every activity has where it belongs: teaching and learning, school governance and culture, or communication with the community, and the competencies for democratic culture to know how we will implement things and steps for that. Let me now tell you some things about what we did this year. We created 4 hubs. Hubs means that we created at each school a group of 8 persons. So it was the director, 2 teachers, 3 students, 1 parent, and 1 representative of an NGO. This group cooperated in the school. So the whole of the school community participated in action and action plan. And then 1 representative from each school formed a group that we helped schools cooperate. How did it work? It worked, for example, because all schools translated all signs and whatever is needed to the students' languages. This, for example, is the emergency evacuation plan. So that everybody has the same understanding of what to do at an emergency, of how to evacuate the school without translation issues, problems. This makes us feel equal and at home. And then at the end, in May mostly, late April and May, all 4 hubs had their own celebrations. This celebration, for example, was about what love is for us. And then you had common presentations from different schools on the same stage. Or, for example, this is an example of the translation of some of the signs at school. So it is the canteen to the left, it is the director's office to the right, and some other basic terminology for everyday discussion. And in this celebration, with no differences, being equal in dignity and rights, students, because they were students, celebrated together. I would like to share with you a short, again, taste of that. Those are students from 6 different schools, from several backgrounds, several languages, several refugee experience and several knowledge experience. They signed, they put their names together. They created a puzzle together that is kept and decorates the school. And finally, they had a good time together. They see that the faces of the refugee students are covered for their vocation. But opening up is to overcome this kind of issues. This is an artwork of one of the refugee students. And I think it's significant for what we try to do. It is the answer on the 3 questions: who am I, where am I, and what do I dream? And if we read it as we used to read, then we would say that this young man dreams, starts from a colorful world and dreams of a black and white world of disaster. but it's not like this. It is that the language of these students is Arabic, so they write from right to left. This is something that we have to have in mind when dealing with difference. That it's not our good intentions only, but it is knowing what the needs of the people that we cooperate with are. I tried as short as I could to present you what we have done. We managed to create a project that flourished. The thing is, why do we do that? We do that because this is almost our own way and our only way to do something for peace. And this is the way that we try to unite with you from down here in working for a democratic school that will be more active for peace now and in the future. Дякую.
Величезне дякую, Ангелос, бо, власне, ті слова про мир. І я хотіла б, дякуючи усім нашим гостям, Санні, Моніці, Кармен, Ангелос, сказати, що крім того, що ми почули багато цікавої і корисної інформації, ми ще раз відчули цю солідарність, те, що ми не одні, і це дуже підтримує кожного з нас. Тому дякуємо, що ви відгукнулися, дякую, що ви, незважаючи, я знаю, що ви всі дуже зайняті, але незважаючи на цю зайнятість, ви знайшли час і доєдналися, і поділилися своїм досвідом, і саме головне, як я сказала, поділилися своїми почуттями, і ще раз кажу, що виразили ту солідарність, яка нам зараз дуже потрібна. Ангелос, а щодо того, що ти хотів приїхати на Україну, вибачте, то я думаю, що дуже сподіваюся, що скоро все-таки настане час, коли ми дійсно зможемо усіх вас зустріти тут в Україні. І я хочу також ще сказати, що вчора в Україні ми святкували Всесвітній день вишиванки. Бачите, я сьогодні навіть спеціально одягнула вишиванку, не знаю, наскільки вам видно, так, щоб трошки передати вам цього настрою святкового, цієї вишиванки, щоб хоч трошки ви відчули цього настрою, українського настрою, який вчора панував. І, звичайно, дуже сьогодні було дуже багато важливих речей сказано, і я думаю, що ми ще раз переконалися, що оця підтримка дітей, кризові часи, вона потрібна в будь-який час, але особливо вона потрібна в складні часи, в кризові часи. І що насамперед ми це робимо, так як сказав Ангелос, не тому, що ми такі хороші, а тому, що ми маємо забезпечувати ці права дітей і, зокрема, право на доступні якісні послуги, серед яких право на освіту. Я думаю, що сьогодні ми ще раз почули, що інклюзія – це не лише про дітей з порушеннями розвитку, так як, можливо, ще більшість людей думає. І ми сьогодні почули, що інклюзія – це і культура, і мови, і дуже багато було прикладів, власне, цієї різнокультурності і багатомовності, і в тому числі і жестова мова прозвучала, що визнання, святкування і створення таких шкіл чи садочків, в яких ці речі святкуються і цінуються, це дуже важливо. Я думаю, що важливо також прозвучало, що демократії потрібно вчитися, тобто людина не народжується вже з навичками, як впроваджувати ці демократичні стратегії в житті, її потрібно навчати, і це також дуже корелюється, особливо демократичні цінності, корелюється з реформою нової української школи, де вперше ми почали говорити про цінності, і ми також продовжимо говорити про інклюзивні цінності, де також любов і права, є одними із найважливіших цінностей. І, звичайно, що ми ще раз, напевне, почули, що крім того, що демократії потрібно вчити, за неї, напевне, треба і боротися, те, що ми робимо тут в Україні. Хочу подякувати ще раз усім вам. Ми дуже сподіваємося на подальшу співпрацю. Це був наш такий перший спільний захід. І дуже цікаво було почути і про ресурси, і про практики. І я, напевне, вибачусь, але питання ми вам напишемо і сподіваюся, отримаємо відповіді вже в письмовому виді і розмістимо на нашому сайті. Хочу подякувати також усім нашим учасникам, які в п'ятницю після обіду, після стількох безсонних ночей, які ми пережили в травні і переживаємо в травні, знайшли також сили і час, і присутні були, і писали питання, і просто слухали цей досвід. Ще раз вам щиро дякуємо і всім учасникам і нашим гостям. Бажаємо мирних, сонячних, теплих вихідних і сподіваємося, що до наступних зустрічей. Дякуємо.